Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Cross Training Women Weekly Live. I'm Allie, Christian health and fitness coach and the founder of Cross Training Women, where I help women transform their body and health biblically so that they can live fully and abundantly and carry out their God-given purpose. If you've been struggling to see transformation with your own body and health, then you're in the right place because today I'm going to share the main reasons why you're not seeing any results. I know when you're working towards your goals and you're not making progress or seeing the results that you desire or expect, and maybe you think you're even doing all of the right things, it can be really frustrating and confusing, right? I've totally been there myself. And so today I'm going to share the reasons why you're not seeing results or what's hindering you from seeing the results that you desire. So there's 5 of them. I'm going to go through all of those. And number one is diet. Diet needs to be your number one priority. Many people, they mistakenly believe that exercise is the most important thing. They turn to exercise to change their body and health. And while exercise can definitely aid in your results and transformation, and it's super important for your health, is not nearly as important as what you put in your mouth. And so if you're struggling to lose weight or with your health, the first thing that I want to know is what specifically are you eating? Because ultimately that's what it comes down to. It's the food that you eat. I'm not going to ask you, what your portion sizes are or how many calories you're eating or what your macros are or how many times you eat a day or when you eat. All I want and need to know is what foods you're eating, because once you're eating the right foods and you're properly nourishing your body, you'll see results. Your body and health will transform. So that's number one. If you're not seeing results, then I would definitely look at what your diet is. And honestly, we could stop there because it's that important. But I've got 4 other things that can impact your results. And so I want to go through those as well. Number 2 being exercise. So while diet is the most important factor in seeing results, like I said, exercise can definitely help in aiding in your weight loss and just your overall health. It's super important. There's so many health benefits of working out. Plus, the main thing is if you want to build or maintain lean muscle, that's a goal of yours, then you need to work out. That's the only way that you can build muscle and really sculpt and tone your body. And so I want to know, how often are you exercising and what kind of workouts and physical activity are you doing? Are you varying your exercise or are you doing the same thing over and over and over again? Because if you're not working out regularly or you're just doing the same workouts every single week, you're doing the same type of exercises, the same weights and reps and sets, and you're not implementing progressive overload in your workouts, which is just basically making little changes, making a little bit harder each time, then you're not going to get results. And so digging further into your exercise routine is number 2. And I know so many women, especially, they turn to cardio for exercise in order to lose weight and get the results that they desire. But honestly, that's not the best method. The best method that I would recommend is actually incorporating some strength training into your workout routine, because strength training builds muscle and muscle increases your metabolism. And when you increase your metabolism, you burn more calories and you burn more calories at rest. And so that's something that I would recommend you do, is maybe step away from the cardio equipment and all of the boot camp classes and high intensity stuff and focus more on strength training. So that's number 2. Number 3 is sleep. I believe that sleep is really underrated. Sleep is super important for your health and can impact your results, because sleep, it not only restores and repairs and rejuvenates your body, but sleep also regulates important hormones like ghrelin and leptin, which regulate your appetite. So both your hunger and fullness, as well as your cortisol, which is your stress hormone. And that's linked to weight gain if your levels are chronically high. And so if you don't get adequate sleep, that can definitely impact your results. Your hormones will be out of whack and you'll be hungrier the next day that you don't get enough sleep because your ghrelin and leptin levels are off. And so as a result, you'll eat more food and more calories. And on top of that, because you're just more mentally and physically tired, it usually leads to poor food choices. You'll likely, be too tired to cook or not have the energy or desire to do that. And so you'll probably get go out to eat more, you'll maybe pick up more food, or you'll just kind of get what's easy and convenient at your house, which are typically the highly processed or those packaged foods, which are high in calories and high in fat, and those are easy to overeat on, which is of course not good for weight loss or your health. And so sleep, it needs to be taken seriously. And so ask yourself, how many hours of sleep are you getting each night? And what's the quality of your sleep like? And if it's not great, then I would just encourage you to take steps towards getting to bed earlier and getting a little bit more hours of sleep each night, or a little bit longer duration and quality, so that, and just see how that impacts your results. I know for me, when I don't get enough sleep, I definitely am hungrier the next day. I definitely see that as a result, and I'm looking to food to give me that energy because I didn't get it from the sleep the night before. So definitely take a look at your sleep. And then number 4 is stress. I think just like sleep, stress management is underrated. So many people nowadays, they just live with these high chronic levels of stress. And as I briefly mentioned before, cortisol, your stress hormone, is linked to weight gain, and specifically that abdominal, that visceral belly fat that's stubborn to lose. And chronically high levels of stress can just wreak havoc on your body. And so managing your stress levels is critical to your health. And I know it's, for many people, it's just a stressful time, but there are ways we can reduce and manage our stress. And the biggest would be turning to God, trusting in Him, trusting in His plan and His timing. And I know for me, Romans 8:28 is a verse that I cling to. And so I wanted to just kind of share that with you today. That's the verse that says, "For God works all things together for the good to those who love Him, who are called according to His purpose." And I truly believe that if we believe that verse, then that God works all things out for our good, then that can definitely lead to having more peace in our lives. I know that that is true of me. And so I wanted to share that with you today. And then lastly, number 5 is consistency. Consistency is key to achieving your results. If you're not consistent, then you're not going to be able to make progress. So you have to be consistent. And the best way that I can share that is just like school. If you want an A in the class, then you have to consistently get A's on your homework and exams. You can't get, consistently get B's or C's, because you're not going to get to that A. And so likewise, if you want A results with your health, then you need to consistently have an A diet and lifestyle. But the great news is you don't have to be consistent 100% of the time in order to see results. In other words, you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to, which I know is a misconception with a lot of people who are following diets. So you don't have to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. And the more consistent you are, the better results that you get. So also, how consistent you need to be depends on what your health and fitness goals are. If you're trying to be as lean as possible, then you're going to really have to dial in on all of those things that I just talked about. But if you're just trying to be in a healthy BMI range and you just want to feel better and improve your health, then you probably don't have to be as consistent. And so if you're wondering why you're not seeing results, honestly ask yourself, am I being consistent? And sometimes we can deceive ourselves. We think we're being super consistent. We think we're, getting an A, but really you're not. You're getting like a C or D on your diet, for example. And so I would just encourage you to track your diet or those 4 other things that we talked about for maybe a week or so, and just see if you're actually doing what you think you're doing. If you're staying as consistent as you think you are, because I honestly believe you'll be surprised. I do that with some of my clients, where we have this food journal, just to kind of track throughout the week. And, they're making improvements, which is great, but they're not maybe seeing results, and they're kind of wondering why. But once you kind of lay it out and you actually record what you're eating each day, you realize that over the week, wow, I wasn't as consistent as I thought. I'm actually only getting a C or D, or maybe even worse. And so I would definitely encourage you to track those things, so that it's just this objective thing that you can look at and maybe see, oh, there are things that I need to improve on still. I need to be a little bit more consistent if I want to see results. And if you're not being consistent, why not? What needs to change so that you can be consistent? Is what you're doing impossible to stay consistent with? So, maybe you're restricting your calories so much you're not allowing yourself to eat when you're hungry, that's going to be really hard and honestly really impossible to stay consistent with long term, because eventually your body's going to fight back. It's going to want you to eat more food. And so it's going to increase your hunger levels and do all these things to get you to eat more food. And ultimately, it's going to cause you to binge and go back to the old patterns and habits of the way you ate before, maybe. And it's going to cause you to gain all that weight back. So, making sure that it is a sustainable thing. Or maybe you're just not consistent because you lack planning and prepping, or you don't know what to do, or maybe for you it's just laziness. Well, then you need to make some changes in order to be consistent. So consistency is key. And if you answered yes, like I am being consistent, and you're still not seeing results, then the problem is that you're not doing the right things consistently. You're doing the wrong things consistently. Because if you're doing the wrong things consistently, you won't get the results that you want either. So the caveat to consistency is you have to know what to be consistent on. So those are the main primary reasons why you're not seeing results. If all of those things are dialed in, then you're going to transform your body and health. And so I'm curious to know, which area or which areas do you need to change or make improvements in order to see the results that you're looking for? What do you think is the biggest reason why you're not seeing results? Is it consistency? Is it diet? Is it sleep, stress, exercise? I'd love to hear your answer in the comments. But if you want to talk specifically more about you and your results, you want to know what you're doing wrong with your diet, or maybe consistency or sleep or exercise, then I would love to chat further with you. You can actually sign up for a free 15-minute consultation with me. Just comment below or send me a message if you're interested in that, and I can send you the link to sign up for one of those. But I would love to do that with you and for you. And so don't be shy, just shoot me a message and we can get something scheduled.